Okay, so um before a while back, I made a video on truancy laws when I was an anarchist, and now that I'm an anarchist, I was thinking I'd make a remake of that video. Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, I thought of remaking the video because I don't think I made it very well, so I want to make it better, and plus, since I'm an anarchist, maybe more fitting. But anyways, I think truancy laws suck ass. No, I mean, I don't think they suck ass. I know they suck ass. But why? Why do they suck? Well, one, they're built upon some really faulty premises. Some premises, or whatever is plural for that. Like, one premise truancy laws are based off of is if kids aren't forced to go to school, they won't go to school, which is false. Kids, okay, hold on, I'm going over the place. What's another faulty premise on truancy laws? Another faulty premise on truancy laws is that kids have a right to an education, which isn't true exactly. Like, you have a right to be able to get an education, but you don't have a right to it, like someone has to provide it to you for free or whatever. I mean, the teacher has to want to teach. What else? They say if they say that education is free, it's not free. Even public education. Or maybe we talk about public education, but even that isn't free because it's paid for with tax. More specifically, property tax. So, it's not free, I'm sorry. People try to use that as a selling point for public school, which I never understood because it's not true. It's not free. Nothing is. Stoffel, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Everything costs money somewhere down the line in the production pipeline, and okay, yeah. Another faulty premise with truancy laws is that, school is the only place to learn. Which is baloney, because there are other places you can learn besides school. You can learn at home from, like, the internet, or reading a book, or just going outside and exploring. Looking at stuff and trying to learn more about it. You can learn from a bookstore, buy a book from a bookstore, or read a book borrow a book from a library. What a concept. You can learn just by doing things like, I have a lot of neighbors, they like to work with wood. They do a lot of home improvement type shit. If you woke up one day and decide you want to build something, you could learn that way. Just from trying to build stuff. You can also learn from an expert. Like, if you have a friend who's a mechanic, they can teach you how to be a mechanic, or if you have a parent that's a mechanic, they can teach you how to be a mechanic. You can meet up with some experts, however you meet up with them, and they can teach you some tools of trade. And if this is like in a particularly formal arrangement, it's essentially an apprenticeship, or it is an apprenticeship, for someone to focus on teaching you one particular thing of how to do a job. On the job personally, so yeah. It's not like people can learn without skill. Some people like to pronounce it. So yeah, those are like 4 faulty premises with it. If they don't go, they won't go on their own free will. If they aren't forced to go, they won't go on their own free will. Well, that's false, because kids are naturally curious. They like to learn. There's plenty of incentive and desire to learn, and that would include to be at some kind of school or whatever. Well, it could include that. You don't need to force kids to go. In fact, by forcing kids to go, that kind of says more about you than about them. That kind of implies that I mean, that does imply that if you force that since you have to force kids to go to school, that maybe it's not so great, or else why are you forcing them to go? Wouldn't they go on their own free will if it's so great, if it's so necessary? Well, it doesn't seem like it since you're forcing them. It seems like your school sucks then if you have to force people to go. Okay, and then, the whole, education is free, it's not free. It's paid for property taxes. It's the only place to learn. No, I just established it isn't. You can learn from an apprenticeship, or just going outside, or just learn from the internet, just exploring. And there's the whole, if, okay, so place to learn. Okay, we got over it's the only place to learn, which is false. We got over it's free, which is false. We've gone over, they weren't forced to, it's false. So there's like this fourth premise, I forgot what it was. Let me think. Damn it, I had it. Oh, they have a right to it. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't have a right to an education. The teacher has to want to teach you. Okay, but you have a right to at least try to get it wherever you can get it. Okay, so those are basically like the four faults of for faulty premises of, like truancy law / public schooling. What are the more heavy, serious, pragmatic ones? Okay, well, I guess again, the five, another faulty premise is school is there to help you learn. It's there to teach you. It's there to enrich society with knowledge. But that's not the case at all. You see, here's the thing. School is designed to indoctrinate, not teach. Education in the United States was until like 1852 voluntary. No truancy laws, at least for the most part. I think there were some colonies that may have made some truancy laws or something. But as a whole, school is voluntary. People mostly learned at home. Well, listen to some asswipe named Horace Mann came along and he decided to change all that and make it so education was forced. Because he's an asshole. Well, I mean, okay, well, to break it down how exactly he's an asshole. He's an asshole because he made education compulsory. Well, he started on that pathway. He started the foundation to make it, for education to be compulsory in the U.S. Like he said, okay, let's look. What's the exact date? Okay, the first, super duper formal compulsory education law passed in the U.S. was passed in 1852 in Massachusetts. And how do I say this? So let me tell you, I'll show you my sources in the video description, but the reason why I'm not showing it right now is because I'm filming, as you can see. Filming myself, I'm not filming the screen. I found that when I filmed the screen and had to change from tab to tab to show what I'm looking at, that kind of became troublesome. So I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna look at the sources as I do before, but I'm not gonna film this time. You're seeing me rather than my screen. Perhaps I should do like a picture-in-picture type thing where, me filming myself, that's the main picture, and then you have a little picture of what I'm filming, or the reverse, maybe the main picture is what I'm filming, when I'm screen recording, and I'm the little picture. But I don't know. It's a lot of trouble. I might do that later, but for now, just doing this. And even if I did do it, still changing for the tabs, it's a bit cumbersome on screen. I feel like it's just better if I just say what I'm looking at and just change it from there for some reason. I don't know. Anyways, in 1838, he founded the Common School Journal. This is where it gets really bad. He says, in this journal, he targeted Horace Mann. I'm reading by Wikipedia, by the way. Horace Mann targeted the public school and its problems. So 6 main principles were, and there were public schools before Truancy Laws in the U.S., but they were more of a voluntary thing. They were funded with tax, which isn't so voluntary, but they at least you didn't have to go. Anyways, here are the 6 rules for the public school system. The 6 main rules are: the public shall no longer remain ignorant. Okay. Such an education should be paid for, controlled by a sustained interest public. Okay, that's already starting to raise some red flags. When he says, like, the public should be paid for, controlled, and sustained by the interest public, he's basically, saying society should control other people, or society should have an interest in this. Like, because what's alarmed by this is education is an individualistic thing, and yet he wants the public involved and have it be all collective and shit. So yeah, it's already raising red flags. That this education will be best provided in schools that embrace children from a variety of backgrounds. Okay, I mean, I do think people of all backgrounds can get education, but you're not gonna like what comes next. And this education must be non-sectarian. Which means we won't like some kind of... Anyways, so he says, basically saying this education must not have religion in it. Okay, I mean, I believe in freedom of religion, which includes freedom from religion. I believe your education doesn't have to be religious, but yeah, you'll see why this isn't such a good thing. Like, I think it's okay to have a voluntary religious education. But he wants it to make it so religion's forced out, which I don't agree with. People want religion in their education, they should be able to have it. Anyways, that this education, number 5, that this education must be taught through the tenets of free society. Okay, well, most certainly isn't a free society to make it. And that this education must be provided by well-trained professional teachers. Okay. He basically wants people to work for the public school system to indoctrinate children. They must be well-trained professional, like they must have a degree and they must know how to do this sort of thing. That's not good. And by the way, he visited Prussia, which is like a older form of Germany back in the mid-1800s. And Prussia had this military system where like indoctrinate troops, and he decided to implement that indoctrinating demeanor and mentality over to the public school system, which sucked ass. It sucked ass. They decided to do that, and but we did it. So, anyways. Like in the article, it says the emulation of Prussian education system. He worked to create a system based on that, and he said students were entitled to the same content in their public classes. He basically wants students to just be pushed out of a mold, basically, not be individualistic in their learning, and. Okay, this is kind of a... Okay, maybe I'm going kind of on a tangent, but... The basic idea compulsory education / truancy laws / public school is to indoctrinate kids. It's to make them to like most of the state, like, okay, they just learn what you want to learn, they don't quite get to learn what they want to learn. So it leaves some kind of dim-brained or dull-brained, they don't question state policy as a result of such indoctrination, just learning, these worksheets and these tests and these quizzes and projects. If you just have them do boring assignments and learn stuff they won't even use, then they tend to just go along with the state and just have boring menial jobs. Like the public education system from like the very beginning was based on a factory model of education, which is where students would be taught just enough to get by as a factory worker. Like how to, they teach you stuff that a factory worker would need to know to just like assemble stuff and shit, but not really any more than that, which kind of keeps people kind of primitive. I mean, public school isn't really about super duper excelling and pushing your limits. It's just about kind of doing the basics, you know, to get by. And if you're just fed boring worksheets, tests, quizzes, and projects and workbooks, then it doesn't really give you much to expand upon or work upon being a smart individualistic person. Let's just do this, do that, learn about, as the stereotype goes, the meme. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of a cell. That's a real stereotypical one, but it's more of an expression or umbrella term for it. They teach you useless stuff in school. Back when I was going to school, I had to read The Great Gatsby, and boy, has that not served me well in any way. But you know, it's kind of by design to give students boring assignments so they don't really learn and expand their thought process and logic, which would allow them to criticize the state and its policies, like the war on drugs or gun control, and you know, be able to realize government's a bunch of shit. But no, it's just if you just have students learn boring stuff that they won't use, then they tend not to question stuff, your system. So there's that. School is designed to indoctrinate. Damn, I'm not really good at this video. Number 6, or maybe 6th reason. Let's be honest. There's tons of bullshit that goes on in public school. There's bullying. That's the biggest one. There's school shootings. There's teacher-student relationships. And yeah, I do mean those relationships. Really gross, but it happens. There's teachers that are assholes. There's a really stressful curriculum. And kids are forced to be exposed and be involved in all that because, hey, truancy laws are forced. They force you to be in that building. Truancy laws, are also done for money. Like, if school gets funding from, like, I think the state for every student that attends. Like, I know the school gets money for every student that attends. So if they aren't attending, they aren't getting money in that regard. And yeah, there's still property taxes to pay to school, but they get even more money when you actually attend. So there's money involved, and being involved should be a red flag that, hey, this isn't done for the students, this is done for the people that run the system. And also, a lot of what you learn in school is pretty damn useless, which I kind of hinted at. Like, how is reading these novels that are supposed to be, you know, sophisticated, how is that supposed to help me? I mean, I did like some novels, like Of Mice and Men. I like that, but I didn't like The Great Gatsby. But either way, how does that really help me get a job or learn? I mean, it doesn't. It's cultural, sure. I mean, I'm not debating there's culture behind these books, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie and say, you need to know this, so you can do what? Also doing all these math problems, like algebra, or advanced quantitative reasoning, I'm not really using that. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff you don't use in public school, and yet people insist that there needs to be a public school system and that you need to learn this stuff, which I find really ironic. One thing you should realize is that, okay, not only is the curriculum inefficient and ineffective, also forcing people to learn just doesn't work. I mean, you can force a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can get someone in the building, but you can't make them learn. Which is why it boggles me that people act like, well, at least you got them into the building. Well, okay, yeah, but are they gonna do what you want them to do? I mean, keep in mind, there's lots of people that go to their jobs every day and slack off. It's like, well, but at least they showed up. Okay, yeah, but are they doing their job well? I mean, it's like making someone go to a building, to a concrete box, does not make them learn. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. It just doesn't. You know, it's ridiculous that people have this notion that if you at least make them go into the building, that's good. I mean, I'm not saying that, oh, they act like that's all you need to do, but they act like that's the least you could do that works, which it doesn't. I mean, I'd rather you not do anything wrong in that case. But anyways, what else is bad about public school? It has no truancy laws. It has no incentive. Okay, I'm really apologetic. I'm all over the place in this video. I'm not very well organized, but I try my best. Well, one thing you'd say about public school is that, okay, how about this? One thing why truancy laws are, maybe I can start over a bit. One thing why truancy laws are bad by principle is because they're forced. You're making a kid go to a building to get an education to learn. And the reason why I'm doing all these air quotes is because, well, as I said before, education is really about indoctrination when it comes to public school. And keep in mind, school and education are two different things, so education is, you know, actual learning of facts and all that jazz, concepts, whereas school is where you go to supposedly get an education. The reason why I mention this is people act like if you don't go to school you won't get an education, but that's absolutely false because you can learn everywhere. So, people are basically saying if you don't go to school you don't learn, or basically saying, you know, that's the only place to get an education. If you aren't going to school you ain't learning, which is false. Depends on what you do with your time and how well you get the information and apply it, which really determines what you learn. And you don't need a school for that. I mean, for formal education, maybe, but, you know, school, that's not necessarily something you need to get a job or really learn stuff. So, anyways, it's a freedom issue because people should be able to choose how to learn, what to learn, and whether to even learn at all, and where to learn. They shouldn't have to go to a school just because you said so. It's like, you're not the boss of them. I'm sorry. I mean, just because a person is a minor doesn't mean you get to decide what's right for them and then shove it down their throat. That's wrong. That's not part of a free society. America claims to be a free society. It ain't. The U.S., the United States of America, is not a free society. It's not a free country. It's not a free society. It's not a free landscape or demeanor. This country does not truly espouse the freedom it touts. I mean, it just doesn't. And one of these ways it doesn't really espouse freedom is the truancy public school system, the truancy system. And I'm honestly baffled by the system, that it even exists, that's even a concept worldwide. Like, you make kids go to school. What? You make them go to school. Like, why is that any of your business? I mean, come on. It's like, it's their education. I think they would be the ones to make that damn choice, whether to go to school or not. And plus, the fact that the government cares whether you go to school or not raises red flags, because it shows it has an agenda. It's like, my education is something I should care about. Why do you care about something I should care about? Do you have like an agenda or something? I mean, it seems rather kind of odd that you care about something that only I should really care about. I mean, it's not really your business, government, that I go to school or not, and that you're caring about it and insisting it's your business anyway. That raises red flags. That shows there's an agenda behind it. I wish there is. Number two, it's not practical to make people go to school. They don't actually learn that way. That's not how they learn. I mean, anyone that's ever learned anything from public school did it because they made the choice to, not because they were just made to do so. I mean, there is some degree of coercion. Like, I don't think your teacher will just let you sleep in class when you should be filling out a worksheet. But overall, you're the one that ultimately decides whether to fill it out with the right answers or not. Three, you get the state is making money out of this, so it's selfish. It's selfish to make kids go to school because you get paid for it. Okay, well, you don't have a right to make money off of force, so that's not right. Four, there's all this bullying in schools, shootings, teacher-student relationships. That's not a good place to send your kid. And there's other bad stuff too. And go on a tangent a bit. I didn't like school. I didn't like a lot of students because I got bullied a lot. I didn't like a lot of teachers because they were dicks. I didn't like the general atmosphere and the fact that I have to show up. I didn't like that. I just... In fact, school kind of ruined society for me. I mean, not like it has to be permanent, but it just did, because it was just such a bad environment. It kind of made me feel... And that's kind of how society is. Like, I saw these students I didn't like, that were rude to me and shit. I felt like, to this day, it's still kind of hard for me to leave the feeling that I'm still in school, or that school is like society, or society's like school. All there is to people is rude people and sheeple or whatever. Look, it's not a good environment to like people in. You make friends in school. I made friends, few friends, but it's not the way to get to know people, since it's just so fucking forced. It's a prison. School is a prison. There's no denying that. By definition, as a prison, as a place you have to show up at and stay at. As long as your captor says how long you need to be in that concrete box, whether it be prison or public school prison, you have to be in that concrete box. You're made to be there, and you're made to stay there as long as they want. That's a prison. So it's very scheduled and drill-like. Like, you can't exactly choose when to go into the bathroom in the middle of class. I think going to the bathroom should be at your own damn discretion, because it's your own damn business when you have to, do your business. And I don't see why you need the teacher's approval. Like, am I disrupting the class that much by opening the door, going outside, going to the bathroom, and opening the door, getting back in the classroom? Is that such a disruption that you ultimately have to choose when I leave? I don't think it's a disruption at all. It doesn't. Many other people don't think it's a disruption at all either. You just fucking go to the bathroom. That's it. No disruption. If you miss anything, that's on you. Out of the lesson, that's on you. But you're not really ruining it from anyone else. And plus, if someone's nice, you can always ask them what you missed. They can tell you. Also, just the whole, you move from first period, then the second period, then the third period, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or just seventh, whatever, lunch in between. That's really drill-like too. Like, going to the same class day after day, it can get boring. It was for me. Learning the same stuff, or the same damn teachers. It's just not fair. It's not a good system where in public school every day is gonna be the same damn day. That's like a regimen, and I don't like it. It's not good. It'd be nice if in public school you'd be able to just kind of switch it up a little bit. I don't know. Like, be with different students to learn stuff, or have different classes, or have these classes on these days and these classes on the other days, or just something different than the same old grind. But public school isn't made to be that way. It's made to be a grind because it's indoctrination. To indoctrinate people, you have to put them through the same grind. Also, excuse me, public school system is known to be very corrupt. Like, look at the school board members. You can argue till you're blue in the face with them. Or every single damn problem the school has, the school, your school has. Not even talk about just your school in particular, and they won't give a damn. They won't. They're just in it for the paycheck. You know, you can complain about, like, kind of like broad issues, like, oh, what's with this critical race theory? That's bullshit. Like, why should you act like white people are so racist? Well, why should you be teaching that to my kid? Which is valid. And then you can also be like, why are you being all LGBT towards my kid? Or why are you having such explicit material in the library about sex? Or why do you have all this shit like kids can't wear pro-gun t-shirts or Trump hats or whatever, or wave an American flag? Why do you make everyone wear a mask? Which are all important issues. But also, I feel like even more important issues are like the bullying and the whole indoctrination thing and the whole truancy thing. People do bring that up on occasion, but I feel like they don't bring it up enough. Well, it's the truancy thing. Public school, I'm pretty sure you've seen a public school board meeting on YouTube, at least one, where things didn't go out so well. In fact, I even make jokes that public school board meetings were more dangerous than war zones. It's like it's a war zone out here. It's more dangerous than war zone. You're safer in Iraq or Afghanistan than you are in a public school board meeting, because those things get so chaotic so fast. Like, everyone's yelling at each other, insulting each other, being really disgruntled, and some people need to be let out by police or whatever. It's just, and there's fights, and it's just a mess. And if adults can't be civil about, and this is just supposed to be about freaking students going to school, minors going to school. Like, how can supposedly we run our public school system better? What are some issues we need to iron out or mitigate or fix? That's what public school systems are supposed to be about, on paper and theory. In practice, it's really just a bunch of yelling, having to kick people out, fighting even, and just plain old belligerence and nothing getting done. No progress. So, I don't... If adults can't be mature about the education of students, then what does that say about the system that it just attracts all these stupid people, stupid belligerent school members that just don't want to listen to you? Is that the message you want to have? Be the reality of the situation of the system? Like, oh, school is important, and public school is important. It's important for the future of our youth, yet we're going to be total assholes about it and just have the most corrupt, belligerent, miserable people in power in charge of it. I don't understand that. I don't understand how people can still give this system legitimacy or leeway to exist or reason to exist. Like, I don't see how people can justify the public school system, especially at this point. Because, the public school system has had over 150 years to prove whether it's justified or not, and it's failed time and time again to prove its worth. Okay? It's failed. There's no arguing that. When you have a school system where people are just doing useless stuff, wasting their time, worrying about, some math, some history, some English, some science that they're never going to use. When you have to do all these dumb worksheets, test quizzes, and projects and workbooks, You know, and when you have them just, you know, doing SAT type crap or tax test type crap. I think the tax test's been long abolished. I think it's been replaced with a STAR test or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that's crap too, because it's standardized testing, and that's not going to be crap. Because it doesn't really teach or really evaluate what you learn. When you have kids doing that, and you act like that's going to help them, but it really doesn't, it kind of shows that, you know, you should have this establishment out that this doesn't work. You know, if people are working like menial jobs, like retail jobs or something, when they'd rather do something a bit more super than that, like, I don't know, be an astronaut or maybe a lawyer or a doctor or engineer or whatever, something better than just selling stuff in a store, you know, because the public education system's so mediocre. If you want to, you know, it doesn't really teach you that well to get good jobs or whatever. You have to get higher education for that, and that comes with its own host of problems. Then that should kind of show you how worthless the system really is. I mean, you shouldn't like need higher education for like every stinking job. I mean, technically you don't, but a lot of them you do need higher education. That's ridiculous. I kind of feel like K through 12 should kind of be enough for a lot more jobs than it is, but it's not. And that kind of shows you how rubbish the system is. Like, oh, I'm going to need higher education after this to get a job. Pretty much. Yeah. So, basically, okay, what's a particular part of it, indoctrinating thing about public school? Okay, I'm gonna... that I've experienced. Well, I did have this history teacher named Mr. Becker, who was a dick. He was a real American kind of guy. Well, I'm not saying Americans are bad, I'm just saying, like, his version of it is bad, because he acted like America's right in every instance, the country could do no wrong, everything was better about it than any other country, and he served in the U.S. military, which I believe in the Army, which I believe had an influence in his mentality and his demeanor. He didn't like it when you, like, question stuff. Like, I said, can I criticize your country? He's like, no. And I'm like, ooh. And he believed America was the best in every way, and that there was no question that you don't, like, say anything against it, you respect our troops, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I feel like that's one instance of indoctrination where, you know, you have a teacher that just acts like America's great in every way. It acts like the country is great in every way. There's no question that you're not supposed to question it. That they don't want to get any meaningful discussion about how the system is wrong or could be changed. You know, it's just America. I had a physics teacher, Mr. Peshik, who didn't serve in the Army, but he was a dick like Mr. Becker too. He'd always be like, oh, it's a fine day to be an American, you know, every time we recite the pledge. We mean me and the other students. And I didn't recite the pledge. I'd stand up, but I wouldn't really put my hand across my chest like that, because I don't believe in government loyalty. I mean, that's what the Pledge of Allegiance is. Just that's an example of indoctrination too. Besides acting like, oh, this country's great in every way, and the teacher giving her sound bites and that. It's like, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which is a government. The United States of America is a government. Well, I mean, the government rules over it. It rules over the territory. If it weren't government-ruled territory, it wouldn't be countries. People like frontiers or communes or that. But it's the territory that politicians claim to have the right to rule over. So with the Pledge of Allegiance, they're basically making you, you know, be loyal to this government, be loyal to this ruling class. The Pledge of Allegiance isn't about the people, it's about the ruling class. You know, 50 states, 50 stars, 50 states, 13 stripes, 13 colonies. You know, it's about being loyal to the politicians, and that sucks. Nobody should pledge loyalty to politicians, because politicians are crap. Bar none. They rule over people. They make shitty laws that have shitty results. They don't really care about the people. They extract tax dollars from them by force. I mean, come on. They're not worth pledging loyalty to. I mean, they really aren't. And as for my terrible time in school, it's hard to imagine people being different than the people that were in school. I'm sorry, but it is. They were just that bad to me. I mean, I didn't get bullied the worst, get treated the worst by people, but it wasn't good. I didn't have a good time in school. And I'm trying to move past that, but it's kind of hard. I'm just saying, if you want people to have a better time with people, don't make them go to public school. I mean, it's not right, it's not safe. It's not how to really get an influence of society. It's not. In my opinion, people should be homeschooled or private school, anything but public school. Really, I mean, avoid that shit like it's HIV or AIDS or the plague or whatever. I don't know. Avoid it. It's not good. And I just don't see the system getting any better because it's not designed to get better. It's designed to just keep the populace docile and under control. You know, don't allow people to have a better education so they can get better jobs, so they can have a better understanding of the world and have better paychecks, so they realize they don't need the goddamn government at all. Don't do that. Indoctrinate them. Make them go to a concrete box more than 7 hours a day to learn stuff that you want them to learn rather than what they want them to learn. They want to learn. And that's what the system's all about. Compliance, indoctrination, authoritarianism. It's not about learning or really seeing the world for what it is or enjoying learning or really getting a feel for the educational process. It's just about compliance. Now, you can have some nice teachers and some nice students and learn some nice stuff, but overall our system is built primarily to just indoctrinate. So, Truancy Laws, I've been along for this, I really apologize, but I guess what I could say is, another thing I could say about Truancy Laws is, it's not right to punish someone for not going to school, because what did they do wrong? You know, honestly, what did a person morally do wrong to violate the NAP by not going to school? How did they harm another damn person? Because they didn't. They didn't harm another person. Okay, they didn't go to school. Okay, they didn't harm another person. That's not what you punish people for. You don't punish people for not going to school. You punish them for harming another person. That's what punishment is, or it's meant to be about. It's like, you harmed another person, you should be harmed. But I didn't do anything if I didn't go to school. I just didn't go to school. Maybe I'll miss out on learning. Maybe I'll fail the class. Maybe I'll have to repeat it. Whatever, that's on me. I didn't harm someone else. I should not be punished. I'm sorry, but I should not be punished. That is not something you punish for. That's not something you kidnap kids and make go to school. That's not something you throw them in a juvie for. Imagine giving someone a criminal record for not going to school, for not going to a building. Like, what? That they didn't hurt anyone. And then there's fines for truancy, and then there's even arresting the parents for it. And then there's even taking away the kids with CPS, which is really dirty. Because their parents didn't make them go to a concrete box. It's like, yeah, totalitarian much? So, what all boils down to is truancy laws are bad because they're based on false notions of how education really works. They violate freedom. They're just revenue for the state, and they're just for control. That's basically what it boils down to, is they don't really help, you know. And they're just trying to control you, and they're just trying to get money out of it. So why does society so tolerate these fucking laws? I have no clue. I mean, well, I do have a clue, but I don't like it. I don't like the fact that society's been hammered on so hard to support public school, to believe it's necessary, and that we need it, and that's for enriching society with knowledge. I don't like that one bit because it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, this educational system, it's not making society better, it's making it worse. It's making people have unfulfilled education, it's making people indoctrinated, it's wasting their time, it's exposing violence, kids commit suicide due to bullying, and some commit even homicide. Whether they kill the bullies or just random people or students or teachers, it still can entice them to do that, and I don't like that at all. I mean, how do I say this? you know this bullying that goes on in public school, and some bullies that never change, apologize to victims. I have a theory on why that is. You see, since public school lets people get away with so much bullying, I think that's part of why they don't change. It's because they've gotten away with bad stuff so long, they've gone to the point of no return. They got to the point of, I'm not going to change no matter what people say to me. Because nobody held me accountable for my actions then. That evil behavior is just sunk in. I feel like unchecked evilness just sinks into the person doing it, and then they don't want to change. It's a tendency. It's not an absolute. Some bullies have apologized to me, 3, but out of like at least 15 I've had or so. But, that's the way the system is, and I feel like if you had a truly good school system, which you weren't supposed to go to by Truancy Laws, I feel like you'd have one that holds boys accountable for their actions so they can change, right? So they can change and learn that this behavior is not good, it's not to be tolerated, I will be punished for it. And if I don't want to be punished anymore, I better change to be a better person, all that jazz. I feel like if the school system was built like that, it'd be better. But it's not. So it's shit. So that's basically what I have to say about truancy laws. I know I talk about them a lot, one way or another, but they are just really bad. They're like one of the worst laws ever invented. No joke, no exaggeration, no hyperbole. And, truancy laws are like one of the worst inventions ever of all time. There's government, which is even worse, which is what spawned truancy laws. But anyways, they're one of the worst laws of all time. They're worldwide. They're kind of inherent to government, I think, and we should get rid of them ASAP. I made a video on getting rid of truancy laws, how to do it. It didn't get a lot of views. I doubt it's really helped, but at least it's out there for people that do want to try to have some ideas. It's definitely gonna be a team. It's definitely gonna have to be a team effort to get rid of these damn laws, because if just a few people like skip school as a form of civil disobedience against the laws, they're gonna be thrown in a cage. Nothing's gonna really change. But if you have enough people like resist being forced to go to school, or at least not going to school, then it's gonna like make the system break apart. Like, okay, we can't arrest everyone, and even for the people we do arrest, we're just throwing them in a cage when they could be going to school, but they don't want to go to school, so our system won't make money. Yeah, you gotta really have a good, decent, large team effort to make it so, we just can't make people go to school anymore. We can't, they're not gonna go to our public schools voluntarily. If we throw them in a cage, they're still not going because we threw them in a cage. We're not making money off of this. It's just a losing battle. So that's basically what I have to say about truancy laws. Sorry if this video wasn't that well constructed. I'm still trying to get a hang of this, how to really, speak, into a camera, and how to really understand stuff, and how to really display it for the audience to understand. But I try my best, and that's basically what I have to say about truancy laws. I apologize if I forget anything. I just think that we need to get rid of these laws, and we need people to wake up. Realize you don't need the public school system. You just need your own desire to learn, and the education and the source of education to get it. Wherever you can learn. It doesn't have to be school. It doesn't have to be public school. It doesn't even have to be private or homeschool. Just learn. Read a book, read the internet, do something, get better. That's basically what it is for learning. You experiment, you do trial and error, learn facts, get facts, you try to apply them. That's what it's about. So, yeah, bit disorganized, but I hope it helped. It's public education has a deep-rooted history as well as grip on American people. I wish it didn't. I'm trying to think about how I could fight against it besides just making videos and, we shouldn't go to public school, we should rebel, we should, I think it would be nice to be able to film a truancy officer and really expose them for what they are. It's like, why are you making this kid go to school? Or, it's like, why do you do that? Do you really need a job? Do you really need to force them to go to school? Ask them pepper them with all these questions that really reveal them for who they are. That, they really are kidnapping a kid, a student, a minor, and they really are making them go to school, which is indoctrination camp. They're making them go to a prison. They're imprisoning students. I mean, sure, they get to go home at the end of the day, but it's still forced for them to even be there in the first place. So that's not good. I want to expose truancy law officers. I want to expose school board members. I want to expose all these people that deserve to be exposed. And I feel like if people wake up enough and realize how bad these people are and how bad the system is, they'll eventually not support it anymore and it'll go away. So yeah, I've been digressing a bit in a disorganized video, but I hope it's helped you anyway. Anyways, I'm an anti-cap cat. I'm thinking of calling myself an agorist cat or agorist capitalist or a voluntary capitalist. I think there would be better names for anarchist or anarcho capitalist or anti-cap. But anyways, that's another video.